Hi everybody, Sean Woodland, Rory McKernan, and Pat Sherwood inside the CrossFit Update Studios, breaking down the West Regional and the two regions that will feed into it. And this is the one regional that has gone through some pretty big changes. The West Coast and Canada West will make up the West Regional. So we've gotten rid of Southern California, Northern California, and the Northwest. Those are now the West Coast regions, and we've kept Canada West. But Canada West is now just going to send 5 athletes to the West Regional. Why is that fair?
Life's not fair, Sean.
It is not.
Yeah, well, the answer is it's not fair if you're an emotional person, but it is fair if you want to look at the numbers. And I know that you guys always pigeonhole me, and you look at me, you're like, that guy's all good at math, right? And I hate to uphold that stereotype.
You're more than a brain.
Yeah.
I hate to uphold that stereotype, but when you look at the numbers, whether you're talking about competitiveness of athletes, or whether you're talking about affiliate count, or especially growth or participation in that region, and I'm not just talking last year, I'm talking all the way from 2012 to 2017, Canada West is the least growing in terms of participation in the Open and affiliate growth as well. So I think when you use those numbers, you got to base it on that because, of course, you can say, there's Brent Fikowski, there's your Emily Abbotts of the world. They're very competitive and they're great when they get to the CrossFit Games, but those are standouts. And you want to go on down the list, and it's just not there when you look at it in terms of competitive athletes coming from that region.
So if athletes from Canada West start to crush it more and more,
or more and more people can get on board, right?
That would be a good step in towards potentially shifting those numbers.
Yeah, and you mentioned Emily Abbott and Brent Fikowski, and since 2015, Canada West has sent just 7 different athletes, men and women, so 7 different individuals to the games. Twice they finished inside the top 5. Brent Fikowski was both of those, and only 3 times they finished inside the top 10. That's 2 Fikowskis and 1 Emily Abbott. So just to back up your point, the depth just isn't there yet.
They're doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, well, then you can take it even to the Pacific Northwest. They're losing a couple of spots as well, not quite as many as Northwest, and even California is being put on notice. Like, hey, here's a kick in the ass.
Yeah, and that's the next question here. California used to be perceived as these 2 juggernaut regions with NorCal and SoCal, and you had all these great athletes, and it was just assumed that they were going to be really competitive at the games. That has changed. What happened?
Perception is a great word, right? I think that you've got to realize that we're talking about the history of our sport now has gotten a little bit deeper.
Yep.
And you were absolutely right. If you're talking about 2009 through 2014 even, you had a CrossFit Games champion in Kristen Clever. You had the Valley girls at the height of their careers, but now some of them are moving on. Becca Voigt moved on to the Masters competition if we're talking about girls. And in the context of this entire conversation, you have to put into the fact that these athletes are actually pretty transient. Right? Mm-hmm. It was big news when your St. Louis Rams are moving to Los Angeles. Yeah. But in terms of CrossFit Games athletes, these guys sometimes they get new jobs. They have family stuff, and they move from region to region. So you really can't you can't base your heart and soul on that. I think the perception comes from the fact that you had some superstars from there. You had a lot of star power. Mm-hmm. But for the last couple of years, again, if we're looking at the numbers, that's just
the rest of the world is caught up in a large degree.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting to watch during the Open. We'll certainly see some new names out there. And just a word to the wise in Canada West, since it's going to be so competitive there in the Open, please, I'm begging you, have your Open videos dialed in. Do not leave anything to doubt here because 1 or 2 reps can make a difference between you watching regionals or you possibly participating in regionals. And speaking of the Open, still time to sign up. Head to games.crossfit.com. Throw your hat in the ring for the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games season. For Pat and Ro, I'm Sean. We'll see you next time.